Hi, I'm Esma Tulba and this is my Bilgi University Textile and Fashion Designs interview video. First of all, I'd just like to introduce myself. I'm 19 years old. I was born in Melbourne, Australia, and I moved to Izmir 5 years ago, and I graduated from İzmir Gelişim Koleji. First, I'd just like to talk about my extracurricular activities. Growing up, I've always been eager to try new things, and I started dancing when I was 4 years old, and I continued till I was 12. I did contemporary, tap, jazz, and ballet, and I gave a stage performance at the end of every semester. I played guitar for 4 years and piano for 2, which I also gave a performance at the end of every year. I also participated in several math competitions both in Australia and Turkey, and I was also the captain of my sorority in my Melbourne high school. I'm a graduate of İzmir Gelişim Koleji, and my reason for choosing Gelişim Koleji as my high school was because of all the social and extracurricular activities. Over the years, I've participated in Digital Design Club, Graphic Design Club, and Photography Club. Fortunately, this year, first time since the pandemic, our school hosted our own MUN, and I was the head of photography, where I took photos and videos for 4 days and edited the newsletter. I love photography and Photoshop, so I think this is a great opportunity for me, and I plan to improve in the future. As a class of 2023, I approached my principal to ask if this year the students could design the Year 12's uniform. I got together a group of my classmates and we successfully designed a representation of our school on our Year 12 sweatshirts. I think high school is an emotional roller coaster as is, and I'm so grateful that I had the chance to design a formal memorabilia that all of my classmates will cherish for the rest of their lives. For my collection, I wanted to choose a topic that I was very passionate about, so I chose Greek ancient history and Greek mythology. I wanted to combine modern day fashion along with traditional Grecian clothing. I chose the 12 Olympians, and I paid extra detail to express each god and goddess's characteristics throughout their outfit. While doing this project, I believe I really improved myself in my designing skills and also the use of watercolor. For Aphrodite's dress, I was inspired by traditional Grecian clothing. Traditional Grecian clothing generally consists of silk, wool, linen, and cotton. However, for this dress, I decided to use pink silk as I think that it expresses the goddess of love. For the bottom of her dress, I was inspired by the birth of Venus, as Venus is the Roman counterpart of Aphrodite. I wanted to show as if Aphrodite was illuminating out of a pearl shell, and I also added pearls within her accessories. I also added Aphrodite's symbol within her earrings. For the model, I wanted to use Winnie Harlow as I think her skin tone contrasts well with the dress. Second of all is Apollo. Again with Apollo, I wanted to keep the traditional Grecian clothing, however I kept it more opaque. As he is the god of music and dance, I wanted to keep his outfit light and delicate. For his shoes and headpiece, I used the inspiration of his harp, and as he is also the god of sun and light, I used gold to accent the sun and sky blue to represent light. As Hera is the goddess of marriage, I wanted to put her in a wedding gown. However, because her spirit animal is also a peacock, I decided to incorporate it in her headpiece and the colours of her dress. I also used diamonds to represent a wedding ring for her shoes. For Aphrodite's outfit, as it's silk, I wanted to keep it a more blended and flowy vibe, so I used markers to blend out both the top of her dress and the back of her dress, and I also added polychromos for her skin tone. As I wanted to keep Apollo's outfit opaque, I used watercolor to really give that effect. However, I also used markers and polychromos for his accessories. For Hera's dress, I really wanted to give a soft blend, so I gave that through using polychromos with markers as a base. With the background knowledge of each Olympian, I also did extra research while doing this project because I wanted to really express each god and goddess within their outfit. As of 2 years ago, I enrolled myself into Les Arts, and since then I've never been more confident in a decision I've made for my future career. Since then, I've learned how to do in-detail pencil drawings and create designs using polychromos, watercolor, and markers. I have a great interest in Photoshop, and I spend most of my free time trying to improve myself in digital design. I'm always eager to learn more as much as I can, so I'm so excited to enter a new chapter of my life where I could fully focus on my career. As my mother is also a graduate of textiles and design, I've always been surrounded myself by the art culture. I used to help her sew, and I used to have my grandmother knit, and even as a little girl I was creating outfits for my dolls. For the past 2 years, I've been confident in deciding that Bilgi University is exactly what I need to achieve my future career goals. I've researched and kept up with Bilgi's fashion and textiles Instagram page and admire the social aspects as well as the educational. I have several friends who study at Bilgi University and they have nothing but positive things to say. If you would welcome me to your school, I will be active in all social activities and I believe I will have a successful impact on Bilgi. I am determined to win every competition and do anything to improve and represent your school. One of the books I've been most inspired by is the Iliad. I studied the Iliad for my Year 11 project, and although I can talk about it for hours, I'll just share my favourite aspect of the book. For me, this book represents many social aspects of love and how love can be the general reason for why we make unexpected and emotional decisions. The act of lust when Paris kidnaps Helen over a spell Aphrodite made. The act of power when two men bring down an entire city over their love for one woman. And the act of pride when Achilles drags Hector's dead body around for days while his father begs for a proper burial just because he supposedly killed his lover, Patroclus, during war. Each individual in the story represents a character type that all literature books have, and considering this is the first known story, we can agree that this was like a handbook for all future literature pieces. This book is considered a masterpiece because it has control over our social perspectives and how we receive some phenomenon. All of these incidents were acts of no self-control, which is exactly the reason how love can make you crazy. While other children were playing in the playground, I was reading my mum's Vogue magazines, doodling on my father's blueprints, and sketching cartoons with my uncle. For as long as I can remember, my parents have taken me to every art exhibition I could ever dream of. While living in Melbourne, I have been to most of the National Gallery Victoria fashion exhibitions. When I was younger, I used to visit my mum at work, and I would absolutely love the atmosphere, and I've just always known that I've wanted to be in the fashion industry. I've always loved drawing and painting, but I never took it seriously up until the pandemic. When we were in quarantine, I realised that I was spending most of my time drawing, and I decided to enroll myself into Les Arts once the pandemic was over. The designers I have always been inspired by are Stella McCartney and Alexandra McCall. I admire these designers because of their authentic outlook on fashion. I admire Stella McCartney for becoming an upcoming luxury brand while also taking a stand against animal cruelty and designing vegan-made products. I think her use of mushroom leather for a luxury bag is extremely creative and admirable. Alexandra McCall, also since taking on the head designer of Gucci and successfully pivoting millennial customers while still maintaining Gucci's legacy as a premium brand, is genuinely admirable. I believe that Alexandra McCall changed Gucci and for the better. I also condoned his act against animal cruelty and putting an end to Gucci's use of fur. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you at Bilgi University.